There's a right way to be authentic and a wrong way to be authentic. It's the first thing you learn when you start doing the kind of work I do. But also the first thing you learn when you marry the kind of man I've married. I'm supposed to appear a certain way to certain people. I'm supposed to speak the right words in the right tones. Sometimes I'm not supposed to speak at all. I'm almost always performing, and I've gotten very good at it. The right way to be authentic online is to give away bits and pieces of yourself that seem real, to gently mock yourself, to reveal tiny imperfections, but never big ones. Talk about your stress as a mom, but never your depression. You'll lose followers real fast. Show a dirty dish, but not an entire messy countertop. Look melancholy at times, but do not cry. Never let them see you cry. Thursday is media day for us. It's the day when we create almost all of my content for the next week. Does that shock you? That I'm not snapping and filming and posting every second of every day in real time? That what you see isn't exactly my real life? I used to make all the videos and take all of the pictures back in the very beginning when this was more of a hobby, something to do when my first babies were little and I felt lost and lonely. That's how all of this started. It feels like a lifetime ago. We moved out to Grayson's family farm a year after we got married. His dad had just had a stroke and needed someone to take it on. The move seemed like a big, awesome adventure, also a way to make a new start, to begin a new chapter of our lives and leave all the terrible things that had happened with the two of us in San Francisco behind. So, we moved out here and set up the farm, or rather, what was left of it. Farms aren't cheap to operate, and most of the land had been sold to big factory farms owned by Tyson and General Mills by the time we got it. But there was still a chunk remaining, a sizable lot in the middle of nowhere. The farm, or the ranch, as we now call it, is at least a 90-minute drive from the nearest city and 45 minutes away from the next town. When Grayson grew up on his dad's land, there was more of a community, even a main street of sorts with a hardware store and a doctor's office and a grocery shop. But most of the local farmers sold their land to big corporate guys, and when they left, the little stores and most of the people did too. By the time I finally got pregnant after more than a year of trying, I was all alone with my first baby, Alice. Gray was traveling constantly, trying to get his various startups off the ground. He was always at some conference or another. So I did what was recommended by the pastor of the church Gray had been going to since he was a kid. I began to journal, and I put my journal up online as a blog. Then I had another baby. I somehow kept blogging through it all and then switched to Instagram. That's how it started. It sounds so basic, but early on it was just me and my babies, all of us crying more than I've ever cried in my entire life, me writing and posting pictures to try to feel better because it was nice when strangers told me that I was doing a good job. So yeah, back then I took my own photos of our life together. I made the videos of how to bake for a bunch of kids. Those got me a lot of attention. Baking bread from scratch. Pain au chocolat and perfect eclairs out of a rustic kitchen with grain I had harvested myself. The internet ate that up. But it was our kids that always got the most attention. Babies and pregnant bellies are what the algorithm loved, and I gave it so much of both those things. But I can't keep up with it on my own anymore. It's been years since I could. My audience is a hungry beast. It wants more, needs more. We need to produce photos, videos, captions, content to keep the views, to keep the sponsors, to keep the money coming in. We aren't just on Instagram. We're on YouTube, TikTok, Discord, Pinterest, Telegram, and a few other places I have never heard of, but my content coordinator says will be the next big thing. So, Thursdays, media day. My kids hate Thursdays.